Hi guys, this is Mrs. Gassler, and in this video we're going to talk about how to do this velocity versus time graph practice. Now on your paper you probably don't have any of this stuff that's up here at the top, but we're still going to be able to do this, and you'll have an easier time reading these. If you can't see them very well, you'll be able to look into them here. So go ahead and pause if you need to be able to read those descriptions better here. We're going to do a couple of these together and talk about the problems and what you're going to have to do, and then you can go ahead and finish up that worksheet all by yourself. So I'm going to zoom in here. Maybe I'm going to zoom in. There we go. Okay, so here we're going to start. Lemon starts at 0 and moves in a positive direction at a fast constant speed. We've got the description here. We need to draw a motion diagram and a position versus time graph and a velocity versus time graph. So we're going to start with the motion diagram. You start with your number line, and then we got to mark 0 on here because it says he starts at 0. And he says he moves at a fast constant speed, so that means that we're going to have our dots be kind of spread out far and our arrows be long. It says it's constant speed, so those arrows need to be as close to the same length as possible. Now, in class the other day, I was using these arrows to make the velocity versus time graph. Let's look at the position versus time graph first. Remember, if you're moving in the positive direction, you have to go up. And since we're starting at 0, we need to start at the very bottom, that origin there. And then since we're moving at a fast constant speed, it's going to be steep. So there we have our steep line that goes straight up. That's a really straight line there. So our velocity versus time graph, we're going to do it using the arrows just like we did in class before. So I've got 3 arrows there, and they're all the same length. So I'm going to draw 3 arrows on my graph right next to each other, pointing in the direction that they're going. And so it's going positive, so they point up, and pretend those are all the same. And then when I draw my line for the velocity versus time graph, those arrows don't actually belong on the graph, they just help me know where to put the line. I'm going to put a nice flat line because a flat line tells me it's moving at a constant speed. For a velocity versus time graph, a flat line means the speed isn't changing. So if you take a look at problem 2, it's a lot like problem 1, except it's going in the negative direction. So I'm going to let you try and figure that one out, and we'll take a look. In this other one, it says he's changing speed, and that one's just like one that we did in a warm-up. So let's go ahead and move to the next page here. Now these don't have the description, they have the graph. So you're going to be using the graph to write the description in the motion diagram. Use the motion diagram to make your V versus T graph. Now there isn't one on problem 5 here, so we'll go ahead and make one up. Let's see here, an X versus T graph, and maybe our X versus T graph will look like this. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so let's first write a description of this, and then we'll write a motion diagram. So I've got 2 parts of the lines here, so there's 2 separate things happening, and so he's starting at he's starting at a positive position because he's not at the origin there, and he's moving in the positive direction because my line is going up. Excuse me. And that line is steeper at the beginning than at the end, so he must be moving in a fast speed, at a fast speed, and it's constant because that line isn't changing. So he's going in a positive direction at a fast constant speed. Then it changes to a slow constant speed. And that's about all we need to write down there. So let's draw our motion diagram. And so there's our number line, and here's 0, and he's not starting at 0, so my dot's there. It's going fast at first, so they're far apart and long arrows, and then slow after that, so they're close together and short arrows. Now, pretend those are the same. Okay, now it's these arrows right here that I'm going to use to make the velocity versus time graph. These arrows right here, and so I'm going to take those arrows and I'm going to stack them up on my graph. So my first one was tall, my second one was tall, my third one was short, and my 4th one was short. So there's my 2 pieces. Now when I draw the line, those arrows tell me where to put the line. I just put it right on top. So I'm just going to go like that, and then I kind of connect it. So you can see that it was moving at a fast constant speed and then it was a slow constant speed. Remember, flat line means constant speed. So the rest of these you're going to do on your own, and that's how you do that. And then when you're done, go ahead and submit pictures of these 2 pages to Schoology. Thanks for watching.